Welcome guests to the online CPABC Canadian Work Culture event hosted today, Friday, September 17th, 2021. My name is Sheila Chung. I'm a Student Recruitment Officer at CPABC. Thank you for spending 1 hour of your day with us. To start the event, I would like to share an acknowledgement that although we are meeting in this virtual space, this virtual format today, I'd like to respectfully acknowledge the land that the physical CPABC office is located, and that is the traditional territories of the Coast Salish peoples, the Squamish, Musqueam, and Tsleil-Waututh First Nations. We do this land acknowledgement to recognize that these territories, for thousands of years, are still home to many Indigenous peoples. This is to reaffirm our commitment and responsibility to improving relationships between nations and to improve our own understanding of Indigenous peoples. Thank you for taking a moment to reflect with me now. So in our time together, we have exactly 1 hour and we have a very packed schedule. We will be taking a little bit of a closer look and a definition as to what is Canadian work culture. We will then have an introduction and get to meet our 3 CPA panelists who are internationally educated. They are CPAs here in BC, Canada, and we'll hear much more about their insight, their advice, and also their own personal and professional experience in how they did their job search in Canada. This will happen through our moderated questions. Close to the end of our time together, we'll be introducing our breakout room and networking portion. In the breakout room and networking portion, that is the time where online participants will have an opportunity to ask their own questions to a CPA panelist. I will be providing further instructions in that portion of the event, and then we will close at 1 p.m. So what is Canadian work culture? So we have to look at these 3 words individually: Canadian, work, and culture. Let's look at culture first. So what is culture? What does culture mean? So the Oxford Dictionary defines culture as the customs and beliefs, art, way of life, and social organization of a particular country or group. So if we look at work culture, work is our employer, our place of where we work, where we are an employee, whether we are an entrepreneur or we work for a company, organization, or business. Now, every type of employer or organization that a person would work for has their own work culture. That could come in the form of what type of benefits package that employer gives to its employees. Sick leave, vacation days, is there any social committee? Is there support in regards to professional development courses? Do they pay for that? Another thing with work culture is how does your place of employment, your employer, your company, your organization, how do they interact with other communities? How do they service the community? Another way you can think about this is what is that organization's mission statement? How do they serve the community? So that is something we can see as work culture. Now, Canada is its own culture because it's a particular country. So when we are looking at what is Canadian work culture, a lot of moving parts. We have work culture in the bigger context of Canadian work culture. So it's a culture within another culture. So this event will definitely be hearing further about what is Canadian work culture, based on the 3 CPA panelists who have definitely experienced Canadian work culture for themselves and also job searching for themselves in Canada. Now, another resource I would like to share with online audiences to help us get a better understanding of what is Canadian work culture. Tell me more, show me more. On the CPA Canada website, CPA Canada has posted for free a free interactive online course that contains videos. This free online course shows us what exactly do you mean by Canadian work culture. Now, this free online course, it's called Guide to Accounting Business Culture, Adapting to the Canadian Accounting Workplace. So this resource provided not only shows us Canadian work culture, it specifically shows us Canadian accounting work culture. Now, this is the link that shows you directly how to access this free online course. Don't worry, at the end of this event, our team will be sending all participants who have logged in a thank you email with a link going directly to this free online course so that you may take advantage and learn a little bit more and view some of the videos that explains a little bit more about Canadian accounting work culture. But for now, I'm going to share a video of what this free online course will actually show us.
Launching a successful career in a new country isn't easy. As an internationally trained accountant, you may not know where to start. And even when you find that important first job, you may struggle with understanding the workplace culture. Where are the accounting jobs in Canada? What should a Canadian accounting resume look like? How do you prepare for interviews? And when you do find an accounting job, how do you make sure you understand your new workplace so you can contribute to the full extent of your skills and abilities? How do you stand out so that your performance leads to recognition and promotion? CPA Canada's online course can help. It's based on interviews with dozens of employers and internationally trained accountants from all over the world. It provides answers to the most common challenges you are likely to face. In 7 easy-to-use interactive lessons, you will find information, explanations, and many learning activities to help you establish and progress in your Canadian career. Your understanding of the Canadian accounting workplace will grow as you work through live videos and interactive learning activities. Watch character-based motion graphics and check in on your learning through games and quizzes. You will learn how to write a great accounting resume, prepare for successful interviews, face common challenges in the accounting workplace, express your opinions and present information, give and receive performance reviews, resolve workplace conflict, recognize and face ethical dilemmas. Immerse yourself online in the Canadian accounting culture while you improve your real-time knowledge, confidence, and job find results for accounting positions or promotions. With the insights you gain from this course, future employers can see you as the capable professional you are. Check out CPA Canada's Guide to Accounting Business Culture, Adapting to the Canadian Accounting Workplace.
So I hope after this event, when we do send you that thank you email, that guests that you take the time to explore a little bit more about what this free online course offers. It's very helpful to be able to view videos so that you can see the different case scenarios. But for now, let's receive a little bit more personal and also professional advice from our 3 CPA panelists about their journey in Canadian work culture and finding not just a job, but a career in Canada. Online guests, I'm very happy to introduce to you our three CPA panelists. I will now ask our three CPA panelists to introduce themselves to our online audience, starting with Nadine Haddad.
Hi, Nadine Haddad, and I'm currently employed as a controller at a company called British Canadian Importers.
Thank you, Nadine. Next, Benson Uzinwane.
My name is Benson Uzinwane. I work as a senior auditor in the revenue division of the BC Public Service currently.
Thank you. Our next CPA panelist is Louis Lang.
Hello, I'm Louis, and I work by myself. I start my own accounting firm. So I work in the public accounting area. Yeah.
Thank you, Louis. Now on with our moderated questions. Our first question is, what is your education from overseas? Let's start with Nadine.
When I was still back home in Lebanon, I had a master's degree from the Lebanese American University. My focus on my electives was accounting and finance.
Thank you, Nadine. And Benson, what was your education from overseas?
I had a different background. I started from the sciences. I had a first degree in biology, a master's in food science, and then an MBA. That's how I diverted into finance and accounting.
That's excellent. Well, very interested to hear later on in our moderated questions how you got into the accounting and finance field. But also, our third panelist, Louis Leung, what is your education from overseas?
My first degree is finance. It's a finance degree in City University of Hong Kong. And then I come here and have a UBC to have a DEP program to have some local accounting courses in here in UBC.
Excellent, thank you. Now this ladders into the next question. What was your employment? Where did you work at the time overseas? Let's start with Benson.
Funny enough, all my work experience overseas was in commercial banking. I started after my MBA. I started as a commercial banker in Nigeria, and I worked for several years, rose to management position. I became a branch manager and later managed as an area manager. I managed 8 branches, before I relocated to Canada.
That's excellent. You had quite the extensive work experience prior to coming to Canada. And the next question, let's have Lois answer, please.
I work as a project manager in a very large jewelry franchise in Hong Kong. And there was no particular job, but there was different projects by project, opening store, different jewelry show. I am in charge on that one. Usually they interact with different kind of party and people.
Very extensive work experience that you have as well, Lois. And third, Nadine.
I started working when I was still doing my bachelor's degree. I was working at a developer company. So they had big construction projects and I was a bookkeeper there. And then I moved on. I had the opportunity to move on to a financial institution called Capital Investment Services. They were brokers at the Beirut Stock Exchange. So they were a private company, but had to report like a public company because they were handling people's money like a bank. And so I stayed at that company for 15 years. I left just before I came to Canada. And in Canada now, I'm at BCI since then.
That's fantastic, Nadine. So definitely our three panelists, you definitely come with a wealth of work experience, even before making your land in Canada. Now, our next question is, you are a CPA now, and I'm sure you've had quite the journey in your personal job search and career path. From when you first landed in Canada, can you please share with us a bit about your Canadian job search experience, what that was like. How has your career progressed since those very first steps in Canada? I know this is a very like broad, open, weighty question, but I'm sure we're all very curious and interested to know, what was that journey like for you when you first landed in Canada to where you are today? So let's start with Louis, please.
I kind of I sent over when I finished my UBC program, accounting program. I sent over 100 resume within 6 months, and then at the end I have 20 interviews, and then I got only one job offer at the end. So, but it's kind of discouraging to send over 100 resume because I haven't experienced so little success rate to get into an interview. But at the end, I talked to different mentor or different experienced people, and they say, yeah, this is very normal for your first job search in Canada. And every interview or every resume that I send out, I will custom make it. So will get improving every sending out a resume, it improving after every interview. So I start by the first area that I start is the CPA website, the job website. It's very useful because it matches the entry level. They're different level, but many of them an entry level job is suitable for CPA student. And then Craigslist, Indeed, then also bring me a different job interview opportunity. That is the start.
Thank you, Louis. I know that was a very condensed version of the journey because it takes some time. Let's hear from Nadine, please.
Yeah, when I first landed, I didn't know anything. I was in contact with a settlement agency that was helping me to get my credentials assessed to get into CMA, it was at the time. And so from them, I got some advice on how to build a resume and how to apply to jobs. Obviously, I did that online. I got in touch with the recruiters. But it was also a very discouraging experience because coming here, I have more than 15 years of experience, a master's degree. So whatever job I applied for, if I applied for a job that's something I can do, something that's in line with my background and experience, they would tell me, oh, you don't have Canadian experience, we can't hire you. Or if I apply for an assistant job or a receptionist, I'm overqualified. So that was a little bit frustrating, but eventually you keep at it, you network, and also I was in the process of signing up for the CPA program, and putting that on my resume actually helped. It got me more interviews, and eventually I got hired. It was one of the reasons I got hired where I am right now.
That's fantastic. So what I've heard so far from Louis and Nadine, that the journey was not a straight line. There was lots of ups and downs in navigating. I'd like to hear from Benson.
Okay, when I landed as a skilled immigrant, skilled worker, with the PR, all I had hope is, okay, I'm going to get the same kind of job I was doing in Nigeria. But unfortunately, I quickly realized that it was going to be difficult. I know that in banking, commercial banking, it's based on relationships. You're going to build your own network. And I didn't have any network in Canada, just being a new immigrant. So I made a decision to change my career to go into accounting full time. So I applied for the CMA program, and as I applied for that program, I got help. They did my credential assessment, helped me with networking, connecting me how to get job, and then it connected me even to the settlement agency in Winnipeg that started doing interview training and resume, preparation stuff. So while doing that, as a student, as I became a student of CMA, I got through that way, I got a job in customer service first time. And then I know that I require some experience in accounting to get that designation. So I was still searching furiously. I was doing almost 50 applications a week, attending series of interviews, but I couldn't get finance or accounting job. After like 2 years, of into the CMA program, I got a job with the CRA. That was a breakthrough. And I was actually in Winnipeg, got that job in BC. That was what brought me to BC, from Winnipeg. And I can tell people that when you're searching for a job, you should not lose hope, and then know that you have to assess yourself and know what you can transfer from where you're coming from. Just don't assume, because like me, I knew that I was the management in a bank, but I know what I required to do well in banking in Canada, and I didn't have it. It was an honest assessment. So I had to look for something I could do. And I felt that accounting, because of my previous background in banking and finance, I could do accounting, and I went for the CMA program. And that was how I was able to get back into the finance field, and I'm still there now, up to now.
Thank you, Benson. For all our 3 CPA panelists, it definitely sounds like a choose your own adventure, a bit of a roller coaster ride through your job search experience in Canada. Something that I've picked up from all your replies is that you definitely tapped into additional help, resource, and assistance to help you with your job search experience. Definitely for individuals that are PR in British Columbia, you'll definitely want to look into connecting with a BC settlement agency. They have settlement resources for career planning, resume building, mock interviews. They also have relationships with individuals that can serve as mentors, and as well as employers for any type of career path, not just accounting and finance. Something else that I've heard and picked up is that the 3 panelists definitely took advantage of the resources available through their accounting program, whether it was a legacy program or the CPA program. Just so people are aware, at CPABC, yes, we do have our CPABC Careers website. We also host live interviewing events. We also have our own CPABC Career Counselor. And our career counselor works directly with students enrolled in our CPA courses with us, and with those candidates who are enrolled in the CPA Professional Education Program. So the resources and the assistance are there. Please, tap into them, because they're all here to help and assist. So those are just some resources to share. Now, our next question. So if we're comparing, when we compare our own personal and life experiences, typically we do that based on what we've actually personally experienced, right? So I'm curious to know, what did you find different about job searching in Canada versus job searching in your home country or region? Let's hear from Nadine.
In my country is a very small country, so everybody knows everybody. You basically need your connections, and you practically go to your interview knowing that you're going to get hired. That's what happened to me, at least. The first time was somebody who knew my aunt. I got in and I got hired. And then the next time I met somebody at a show who knew somebody. So that's how I got hired back home. That's how it goes for my country. It's a very small one. Here, you do need connections. That's very important, but you also have lots and lots of competition, because there's a lot of immigrants from all corners of the world, and there are opportunities, but you just need to know how to navigate things. You need to learn about the process. It is a process, and you do need that knowledge. That's what I found.
Thank you, Nadine. Let's hear from Benson, please.
I would say that Nigeria is kind of different where I come from. And if you look at Nigeria, it's like a country of 170 million people, so it's quite big. So if you're fresh that's just starting to look for a job, it's a wide open field for you. But the only thing I can say, if you are experienced, like in my industry, the commercial banking sector, what I found out was that when you are on the job and you are good, most times, if your boss is moving to a different company, a different bank, they tend to pull the people they worked with previously and they trust to go with them. So it's like a ride, a passage, because you are very good at that job, your boss is moving, and it can just move with you to a different position. One challenge I found here was the way the interview is conducted. I wasn't used to the behavioral competency interview. Our interviews were different. It was based on they ask you, was like knowledge-based questions that you are asked. But here in Canada, you are supposed to tell a story about how you solved a particular problem or the other. And one challenge I had to again was that in my country where I came from, which is different from Canada, if you can get a job and then they do a reference letter to confirm your appointment. It's part of the confirmation of appointment. But in Canada, before they offer you the job, they will have conducted a reference, and it made me to lose a good job in Manitoba. Before I got the CRA job, I was really upset. I was told that I would be offered the position. I should just get my reference, and my reference of my boss in Nigeria, and he was on vacation. They sent the email to the office email, and he wasn't around for like 30 days. And they offered it to the next candidate. And I was like, okay, this is the kind of job I've been looking and hoping for. I didn't know that you won't get the job offer at all if your reference doesn't check out, unlike where I came from, where you will get a job and then they check your reference. If it's not good enough, they can fire you for that, but that was an eye-opener. So that's like some of the different distance I experienced. That's the difference between where in Nigeria versus Canada.
So interesting. Like that's a perfect example to show us a culture within a culture, and the stark differences between both of those experiences that you had. Wow, it's really it really is choose your own adventure. I'm learning a lot. Let's hear from Louis, please.
My search, I found that it's very slow in Canada, everything. And in Hong Kong, it's very famous. Everything is very fast. The reply is very fast. You got the interview very fast. But in here, maybe you send a resume you forgot 2 weeks ago, and they suddenly have an email say, "Hey, are you okay to have an interview next week or tomorrow?" Something like that. It's very slow. The first. And second, the interview kind of the job searches, the company, they are looking for people that we're working with. They want to know you more. And rather than what kind of skills that you have, what kind of experience that you have, yes, it's important, but they are more focusing on you. Can I work with them? Or I'm an approachable person. I'm willing to learn. That is more. They are willing to when they do interview. I kind of sense that this is more the things that they are more looking for. Third, reference. Just mentioned that it's reference. At first, hey, after the interview, the wrap of the interview, can I have anyone that I can find the reference? And then because at first I didn't prepare one, I sent them later. But prepare 1 or 2 names that you can that you have worked with. Maybe your coworker, maybe your supervisor that can give you a good reference. Be prepared to them. That is 3 things that I would say that is different to what I am from.
Thank you, Louis. Definitely we want to know you as a person. Definitely sticks out a little bit more. because when we're entering a workplace, well, you work with many different human beings. So it's interesting that the Canadian job search, the custom and the etiquette is that we want to know who you are as a human being, you know, not just what's on your resume and your skills, but, you know, who are you as a human being? It's really interesting. So our three panelists touched upon this question, but I wanted to ask it direct. So many of us, we've experienced multiple interviews, but no job offer. Or I've sent so many applications to job postings, but I have no interviews offered to me. Why? Is it me? Am I doing something wrong? Like what is happening? Because once you send it out and then there's no response. So let's start with Benson to address this question.
These multiple interviews and no job offer is something I really experienced. Like I said before, I used to do more than 50 applications a week. That's a regular thing. And sometimes the return rate might be like, it's low anyway, like 5 interviews or sometimes 1 interview. I was doing interviews like it was almost non-stop, but I didn't lose hope. I felt that there was some that they will tell you, okay, you do first stage, second stage, and then they will say, okay, you need to go, like Lewis mentioned. It was more like they're trying to see if you are going to be, will I call it a fit? They call it culture fit with them. It doesn't really, after they've looked at your skills and experience, they know you can do the job. It now becomes a different thing, how you present yourself. I remember a particular one job that they had said, okay, I was supposed to go meet them for coffee in Tim Hortons. That was in Winnipeg it was an accounting analyst job. And I dressed up because in Nigeria, our work culture is different. We are more formal. I was wearing my jacket and I was, dressed in a suit, well, without tie. I went for that coffee meet with my supposedly new boss. And I got there, I saw that the lady was in hoodies and very informal. It was like, I just knew somehow that I won't get a job because the first question was that, the job that I've done interview and everything before, it was just to formalize it and get the offer. I was like, oh, you seem to be, you were a manager, you were a regional manager. Don't you think this job is too low for you? That's something that had already been done. We have done interview, we're supposed to. And like I said, I knew that somehow I won't get that job because, the person didn't feel comfortable working with me. I think. And when I got back to the HR, I was like, okay, the lady said you were interested in management job. I said, no, you interviewed me, you had finished the interview. This is the job offer. I knew what I was going for. So how can I go there and tell them that I wanted to be the, so yeah, so many other factors apart from your education and your experience, so you need to know the work culture for their particular organization you are going for. How do they dress? Are they more informal than formal? And all other subtle things, that soft skills that you should really be more focused on. Where I come from, we are more focused on the hard skills. What can you do? Do you have this experience? Can you do this work or not? But here I found out it's more of soft skills, and we should be more prepared for that.
Very, very insightful. Again, that goes back to who are you as a human being, right? Let's hear from Lewis.
Okay, multiple interview but no job offer, that is normal to start.
Yeah,
that is normal. But don't get discouraged. So first, to think about that, maybe you do have to prepare before you interview, you have a script for yourself before you walk into interview room. but you are all in the CPA program. You have a lot. You are more advanced than the general public. So when I do my job search, the market is good. The market is good. It's normal time, not like the COVID now. It's 100 resume. I already graduated from that program in the UBC, but still send 100 resume, 20 interview, and one job offer. And it's kind of slow, but at the end, you will land on some job that you will really work on. So it's slow, but it is just a process. So don't get discouraged. I don't worry. You are all CPA students. I'm not worried about that.
Thank you, Louis. We definitely have CPA students and candidates here. We also have potential CPA students and candidates. So it's good to hear, like, what do you have, what are the expectations as well. Let's hear from Nadine. What are your thoughts and insights in regards to this question?
Yeah, I relied on the resources that were presented to me when I landed here. I had an employment counselor with Mosaic, it's a settlement agency, and she really helped me. Like, she reviewed my resume, and every time I came back from an interview and didn't get the job, I would tell her I did this, and that. She would point out to me where I went wrong. For example, when they ask you about your salary expectations and you get, like, you need to provide an answer. She told me, okay, you provide your answer and then you say, I'm flexible. So you are willing to negotiate. It's one of the things. And also, you need to prepare. You need to show the interviewer that you are really interested in the company that you're hopefully going to work for. You need to do your research, look at what their latest news are, ask good questions. When it's time for you to ask questions, you need to ask questions that show true interest in the position, in the company. So that's our insights that I remember that really meant a lot. And you also need to highlight the achievements on your resume, not just state what you did. Like, start with the achievements and then move forward. Like, for example, for me, my achievements was, helping implement systems, because I also have a programming background. So in every job I did, I had systems implementation, and that's actually what got me my job here. It's the only job I have in Canada for 8 years now, and it's been a great experience. But yeah, like Benson and Louis said, it's a process. And at one point I was very discouraged and frustrated. I put an ad on Craigslist at the end of the day, and my ad said, like, in capital letters, it's like I'm shouting to the world, like, I want a job. I don't want to take your tax money and welfare checks. I want a job. And that's how I got my job.
That's a lot of ingenuity, definitely. Something you mentioned, Nadine, that I thought was really interesting that I also want to highlight to all of us here is that, when we're applying for jobs and we get an interview, we can be really excited. Oh, we have an interview, great. But we also have to keep in mind, we're also interviewing that employer to see, is that organization, an employer, the type of work I'm doing, is it a fit for me? So it is a conversation back and forth. I know it can feel very much one-sided because, we're applying for the job, you have the job that I want. But keep in mind, this is also our opportunity to, okay, you know what, you have questions for me, but I have some questions for you too. So that's definitely the space and the venue where that allows us to do that, to get that clarification and to also highlight, like you said, our achievements. This is what I have to offer. This is what I can do for you. This is what I can do for you and your organization. So the next question, which I believe this will be our last moderated question before we get to the breakout rooms. Our last moderated question is, having gone through Canadian job searching yourself and being a CPA, what advice can you share with us and how to navigate our own accounting job search in Canada? Let's start with Louis, please.
My experience, utilize your university or career center. I was in UBC and it is very helpful. Brush up my resume, give me confidence, and prepare and lower my expectation. Is very slow and it's not that fast, but it's still very useful for the career center in the university. Second, CPA website, the job search. Send out the resume. Don't hesitate. And whenever you feel very close to what you're looking for, just send a resume to give a try and treat it as an interview opportunity for you to practice your script. No, don't shy about that. I think it is the most useful. These two tips. Yeah, career center and the CPA website is very useful. The career website.
Thank you, Louis. Nadine, please.
Yeah, after I got my job, I mean, I'm still at this job, but it doesn't mean that at one point I didn't go and search for other opportunities. I used to commute 2 hours a day total to go there and take transit. So at one point I tried to look for other jobs, and we have access to a lot of resources, such as the CPA website. It's a very good one because it's not like you're with thousands of other people, like hundreds of thousands even out there applying for jobs. You are limited to the CPA community, students, candidates, and members. So and employers who actually post there, they know what they're looking for and they know what level of skills you have. So that's one thing. Also, recruiters are sometimes helpful because they take the time to know you as a person, as an accountant, as a professional, and then they know what you're looking for. They'll interview you to know what you are looking for, and then they also know their clients, and then they'll connect you. Also, always take the opportunities to make connections. You never know where that opportunity will come from. Always, if you have events, you get invited, just go there, meet people. You never know how things will work out. So take advantage of all the resources available to you.
Thank you, Nadine. Definitely, it sounds like, keeping yourself open is definitely a common thread in our job search in Canada. And third, let's hear from Benson, please.
In addition to what Nadine and Louis had said, one thing again I found that is very important is that take every opportunity to get a feedback after an interview. If you don't get a job, you understand, to know where you went wrong, and then every opportunity to research every company that every organization that you're interviewing for, interviewing for a job with. Always research them and then get a feedback. A lot of organizations provide feedback to candidates if they ask for. And like we mentioned earlier, make use of your network. We have a lot of resources available that you can, like I said, when I came here, even the way we write resume in Nigeria is different. So I had to learn how to prepare Canadian resume, how to interview for job, how to even the use of behavioral competency questions, which I wasn't used to. So you need to use all the available resources to you. We have the CPA job website. If you have the Immigrant Settlement Center, if you're an immigrant, and then look for feedback. Feedback is very important. It can help you prepare better next time. And don't lose hope, don't lose hope. It's very important that you be positive, no matter the number of rejections you receive.
Thank you, Benson, Nadine, and Louis, for sharing your personal and professional insight, and also your personal journey in how you navigated yourself in your job search in Canada. Having access to all the resources can definitely feel overwhelming for someone who is like, I don't even know where to ask. So just a very quick summary of what are some of those resources that we've heard from the panelists is if you are currently attending college or university, definitely connect with your career center. You'll want to also connect with the student club, the accounting student club at that college or university, because they also have relationships and they host accounting and job finding events. Faculty, teachers, career counselors can assist. If you are PR status, you can definitely inquire about the resources, the help and assistance from the BC settlement agencies. Once you're enrolled in the CPA program with us, our CPABC careers website, our CPABC career counselor. These are just a few of the top highlights of these resources. So thank you all guests for sharing your questions and your insight to this. So this now concludes the moderated question portion of this event. So thank you everyone for listening, and thank you to the CPA panelists for answering our moderated questions.